right.
Hey, Reed.
Hello. Hello, Zahava.
Are you able to start?
Okay. Hello, class. Hi, Reed.
Are we running so far away?
This is the final presentation for the weekend, and then we have our closing circle, our feedback circle, our wisdom circle right after this, and then we will all, continue our community ties and close the circle. So if you feel sadness coming up in the next, presentation or in the welcomes closing circle, that's normal. Please honor that. Don't try to shut it down. There's always a little bittersweetness in transitioning a circle, and with a weekend as powerfully as we've had. So let that stuff move through you. Don't try to kink it up and get it stuck somewhere where it doesn't need to stay. So be mindful of that and honor that if that shows up for you. And it might not show up for you. You're not broken if you're like, I feel fine. I should feel bittersweet. No, you don't need to. And movement and sound and just having Zahava around is good. Is good for moving energy. So it is my great pleasure as our last presentation of the third annual
Thank you.
Sacred Sex Roundup to give you Zahava of Zahava Loves Making Dances. Lovemakingdances.com. Yay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yay. Awesome. Come in. Well, we will be moving, but I'm going to do a little sitting and talking, which is a little unusual for me, but I'm going to take this opportunity. Thank you. So, I want to talk about containers for feeling.
Is this too far in?
You're okay. I think they need to come. Yeah, you're right. Thank you. So I love coming to this event every year because I get to integrate and take in so much wisdom from the community. It's amazing, and having this time slot is like electrifying because I'm like, how is it all going to inform what I know right now and what I get to share with you, which I'm so grateful that you're here. So one of the things that really resonated with me actually, and I've heard Reed say it before, is the parking brake, which is, when you're moving at a fast velocity and you kind of have this behind you and you may not be able to hear it because you're used to hearing that. This is life energy, and for the purposes of this moment. And this is us right now, our container, our ability to feel. And this is another stage at some point in the future in our ability to feel. So I wanted to do a little demo and just kind of see what comes up for us, because sometimes I do this with people when they're working with partners, and it's a little bit more experiential than sometimes language can bring in more judgments or projections, but this is just like things I can touch and feel and taste. So basically, I think a lot of us come to this space because we want to be able to feel more without being overwhelmed. And we don't get to choose what the energy is tasting like all the time. Actually, we don't get to choose it most of the time. All we get to do is either be open to it or constrict it. And so when we're first on our journeys, there can be something that is like, well, I went to my first naked yoga class and I turned, I was really uncomfortable when I had to do a forward bend and my legs were really open, and then I smelled somebody who smelled really good, and like I'm already almost half full with what I can actually pay attention to, right? And, then I had this crush on one of the presenters and I really wanted to take them out to lunch afterwards, but I didn't know how to ask about it, and suddenly I'm just like, I just can't really, and it might come out like I need to talk about it a lot and it's spilling out of this area, right? Or it might come out kind of in a very proud way, if it's coming from here. Like, there's this whole channel, and in 30 minutes we don't have time to get into all of it, but what I want to do today is bring our awareness to this channel and where we can tune in to when it's spilling versus when it's filling up. So sometimes what we try to do is like, I really want to feel more. So we're like trying to stretch this out, right? Because we want to be over here where the same amount of sensation, the same situations are like this, and that's cool. I can still pay attention and still, you know, like, I'm still breathing, I'm still moving, paying my taxes, you know, I'm like still in here. And I can hold a little bit more. And often, the people that we might be really attracted to do not have the same size glasses that we have. So we can be in a really juicy, yummy place together, but then over time, particularly if we continue to, if we haven't done our homework, as Ruud said, and we continue to be in a relationship, or also if our container deepens at a faster rate than someone else, because of our commitment or our maintenance, our daily practices that allow that deepening, 'cause it's always an active practice, then we can run into these constrictions in the fluidity of being alive and feeling and tasting this. And as we open our capacity to feel pleasure and bliss and all the things that we came here to feel, we're also going to be feeling more pain, more grief, more anger, because it's not selective. We are choosing to feel more. So, you know, sometimes it's like, oh yeah, I want to have a glass like this one is really good, but I want to have a glass like this one, and I have to think about, you know, Occupy Wall Street and do like, who am I going to vote for, and how come there's not a presidential candidate, but we don't get to choose that. So we're in it for the whole thing. And when we come in consciously and we're integrating all that energy, because sometimes people want like a big glass down here and a little glass up here, or, you know, variations of that. But this is actually one whole fluid space that we're working with, so that when things pour in, we're going to learn about the value of sensation and sensation intelligence. And I want to make a distinction between sensation and emotion, because emotions are things we're feeling. Like, how's everyone feeling right now?
Good.
Cool. So, yeah, and some of that is emotion, right? I can see it on your face. And also, like, what are some sensations we're feeling in our body right now? Just like popcorn, 2 or 3. Cool, okay, so those are slightly different. Emotions they're a portal to the past very easily, even without us intending it. Meaning that if I get really excited, really angry, really aroused, any of those, it's very easy for me to suddenly shift into a previous experience that is anchored through that emotion. But if I can identify where I'm feeling that emotion in my body now, the sensation of it, I am more able to be present and with my current intention. So that's a distinction, that's a tool that I want to give to you today. And when we, movement, to me, I teach naked yoga, I teach dance as sensual ceremony, I teach tantra as contact improv. These are all movement explorations. And what I'm fascinated by in them is how they deepen our intelligence about sensation. And having just been working with Peter Levine, who's doing a lot of phenomenal healing trauma work, he works with children who just survived the tsunami in Japan, and war veterans, adults who grew up in concentration camps, and learning about the phenomenal healing of the nervous system comes back to being in the current sensation. And sex is just one doorway for us getting really intelligent around our sensation skills. But I just want to also place in the room, because no one told me earlier on that as I learned to have more powerful orgasms, I was also going to start feeling a lot more than just that. And, you know, how do I have the the emotional and spiritual endurance to pay attention to the world around me. So there are
just to clarify, so if
Yeah.
someone's like really pissed off or you're really angry, the thing to do is do a body check and where you're feeling.
we didn't get to the thing to do yet, but it's coming. So
Okay.
thank you. Yeah. So the first thing I'm going to do is ask everyone to lay down. So you're going to clear the space. Great. I want to be able to see. Awesome. You will be moving, so you want to have a little bit of space around you, and that's a little precarious on the bench, so you might try the floor, but you'll see how that works for you. Okay. Just don't fly off. All right. So go ahead and bring your knees into your chest. Beautiful. And you're actually going to use your hands to press your knees in towards each other so that you can completely surrender the muscles between your legs, your inner thighs. So your legs have become receptive and passive, and your arms are energizing them in. And then you're going to bring your knees up towards the ceiling. So legs are not extending, just knees are perpendicular. Actually, how about this? Why don't you sit up for a second, I'll demonstrate. It'll be a lot easier. Sorry. So here's what's happening. I'm going to draw my knees in, and I'm going to keep them closer to the skyward rather than towards where I'm compressing my organs. And from here, I'm going to be rocking like this. And I'm really doing it from my arms so that if I let my arms go, I'm not controlling from here. Yeah. So, cool. So you want to really press. There won't be any space between your legs when you're doing it because you're going to bring your legs together. And you're going to find a rocking that's not too effortful. And what I want you to do is you're going to keep doing that rocking while you listen and while you breathe. See if you can actually feel your head moving, feel your neck moving, feel the back of your heart moving. So you're letting, yeah, beautiful, and you don't have to compress the sounds if they're there naturally. So, that was great. Okay, beautiful. So what we're doing is we're working on a fluidity of this whole central channel that's really intelligent and actually integrates our sensations into a whole body. Yeah. So what's happening is we're steering the thigh bones, and the heads of our hip sockets are just rocking right into the caves in the basin of the pelvis. And you're going to allow this to move all the way up your spine. Let that movement come in to move your organs, your heart, the back of your skull. Listen really deeply and see if you can actually hear your hair moving on the floor behind you. Notice what part of you is moving, and more importantly, or as importantly, notice what part of you is not moving. And then take a moment, gently relax your feet down to the earth, knees up to the sky. Relax your hands, palms up to the sides of your hips. And just be still and feel what's still moving. So when we feel sensation, there's at least 4 layers of sensation. One is movement-based, what's moving and what's not moving. And I want us to learn the distinction between tension and energy. Sometimes we confuse those. We're like, I really feel it in my belly. But are you feeling tension or are you feeling energy moving? So this is a really beautiful, practical way to come back to allowing fluidity to move all the way through the central channel of the body. You can feel the sacrum, that triangle bone at the base of your spine, shining into the earth. So gently make your way to your side and come up to sitting. Stay rooted. See if you can move your whole spine with you. So these 4 ways of sensing, how are we doing? You all look great. These 4 ways of sensing, one is what's moving and what's not moving. One is kinesthetic, where am I in space? Often we go really deep in a journey, but we've lost our perspective, our relationship to community or people around us. So just right now, are you aware, without having to use your eyes, how close is the wall behind you? How much could you move your arm to the left of you before you'd knock into someone? So that's a whole other proprioception sense that we have. The third one is visceral, what's happening in our organs. We often notice that more when our stomach is upset or something, but that's a whole other system of feeling in the body. And the fourth one is where our energy is moving. So a lot of my work is really about developing the sensation intelligence. When we are in a current situation where there is a lot of energy, such as the conference, and part of why I wanted to bring this here is that sometimes we don't always stay tuned in to what's happening, I see nodding, in our bodies. And when in the same way, like a lot of us I feel come to this path, and I would say this for myself, because we love feeling and we want to feel more. And we seek high sensation. One of the things that balances our sensation intelligence is also tuning into subtle sensations. This is one of the things that deepens our container. And it allows us to be able, like if you eat a lot of spicy food, you have to keep accumulating the peppers to be able, because you're actually frying some of your taste buds. Same thing happens with our awareness. If we're always going into these really intense experiences, or our relationships are based off of these intense experiences, thank you, then we kind of, it creates a shallower palette of our sensation intelligence. So I'm going to ask you to turn to a partner that you feel comfortable exchanging touch just in the feet area. And go ahead and pick someone. And then before we do this, I'm actually gonna ask for a volunteer, someone who feels slightly fatigued and doesn't mind holding, being the center, of attention. Let's actually stand up and encircle her. So you have your partner and you're gonna watch. We're gonna watch as a circle, and then you'll go back to your partner. And we have 10 minutes. Yay. So you can lay down. Please. Awesome. So this is called a chi machine, and it's a way of moving energy gradually through her midline, and it's going to give her feedback about which areas in her midline, or in all of us, in our midline, where we tend to constrict first. So when something gets really huge, and I want to add that this also happens on the mental level, when there's a huge, this is an area of possibility. And one of the ways that we restrict our central flow of energy is to create a belief that narrows the amount of energy and possibility moving through here. I could speak on all of these 7, but for right now, we're gonna, I just wanna plant that in our, as a gift as part of what I can share in these brief 30 minutes with you. So the intention of this is for you to have an experiential wisdom that you're taking away, and to notice your, what I'm gonna call your constriction points, which are also your choice points. And it'll help you remain present as you are experiencing a sensation. And that is part of our daily work of expanding our containers. So, the first thing I'm gonna do with my partner is hold right under her heel bones. I'm gonna really ground my body, so I'm very comfortable in my body. Wow, you're already so open. I'm gonna relax into my belly. And I'm gonna bring her feet together, just like we did with our knees, because that helps relax the yin side, which is the inner side of the body. And from here, I'm gonna move her legs back and forth. How you doing? Cool. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring my vision right along her midline as I start to pick up my energy. Beautiful. And I'm seeing what's moving and what's not moving. I've never done this on a rug. It's slightly different. Yeah. She looks really beautiful and fluid. And I'm gonna notice an area that feels like it's moving slightly less than the rest of this stream of energy. And I'm gonna say, take a really deep breath and release it through your mouth. I'm gonna pick up my energy a little bit more. And I'm drawing right from the base of my spine too, so I'm not trying to do it for my arms. You can feel the difference versus down here. Yeah. And then I'm gonna ask you to take a deep breath and exhale right into your womb. And I'm gonna just gently ease her in a stillness. At this point, I have a little bit of leaning back happening. I'm decompressing that whole channel through her body. And then I'm gonna gently let her legs rest. And also take my attention off of her so she can integrate her own experience for a moment. So that's what we're gonna try. How are you doing? Awesome. Thank you. So go ahead and partner with someone, and I'll explain a little more as we do it. I want to make sure we have time. So you will, first person will lay down. There's a lot in yeah, they're gonna stay together. Yeah, I'll do it only because I don't want us to run out of time. Yeah, thanks for the question. Thank you. Okay, so for the purposes of learning this now, we're only going to be in this one position. We won't switch, and I apologize, but that's just where we are with time right now. But I want you to know this so that you can use it with other people, and you can also learn a little bit more when you just do rocking by yourself. So you're gonna go ahead, and if you are giving right now, you're gonna get really grounded in your body. I recommend sitting on your heels if it's comfortable, with your knees wide if it's comfortable. And you're going to take a deep breath right into your belly. Relax your shoulders and right behind your skull. Yeah, beautiful. You're going to gently bring your hands right under their heels. And before you start, just envision that midline running through that person. And you don't need to peer into anything too deep here. Just see that line running from the center of their body. You're going to press their legs in right into the center, energizing the inner thighs so they don't have to hold that energy themselves. And then you're going to, from the base of your pelvis, start to move your arms side to side, keeping your own belly relaxed. And it's pretty ding, 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 ding. You're going to find a rhythm that actually was a little faster than you might think, so that you get a little reverberation. Yeah. If you're receiving, actually all of us can open our mouth. And notice if this is hitting a stillness in the belly, in the heart, in the throat. Just see how high up this wave can move. And then pick a place where there's a possibility for more movement in your partner and invite them to breathe right into that place. And as a whole group, we're going to just take a deep inhale together. Take a sigh out through the mouth. In the last 20 seconds, see how much energy you can start to move right from your base all the way through them. Take one last breath in. Exhale. Gently come to stillness with the legs. Lift them slightly higher. Lean back a little bit so you get a little decompression. And this is a feeling of letting energy move through you while you're relaxed. And gently allow their legs to rest down to the ground. So I'm going to wrap up because I know we're at time. And one of the things that I'd like to say, just to give this a practical application, is that in a community that loves experimenting and loves passion and pleasure, it's also really possible for us to go into addiction space. And this is one of the key things that really helped me distinguish that, because I could tell that even with the same person or the same kind of situation, if I could feel the constriction in the belly and the back of my neck, I knew those were the places, that's my immediate feedback system. And that if I could then breathe into those specific places, there's a choice point there. It's like, okay, I'm in this addictive energy, I can continue to be in it, but I know I'm in it, or I can breathe into it. So part of this technology is built around learning what's the sensation of holding and what's the sensation of opening that creates more choice points for us. So, having said that, I am going to close this. My website is lovemakingdances.com. And yeah, I have a mailing list out there and would love to answer questions and offer classes to deepen your sensation intelligence and the role in healing. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Confess, you feel the way I do. Confess, I think you want me to. There's something deep inside that you hide, but you can't suppress. Just come.